Hello everyone, today I'm going to be going over how I turned these sweet tea bottles into seed starting containers. Basically what happened is I ran out of seed trays and I have more seeds that I want to start in our greenhouse. So instead of going out and buying more and spending money, I decided to use some things that I had left over from last year. I was given these sweet tea bottles by my mother-in-law who thought I could possibly use them. She said I'm creative and I would find something. I didn't find anything last year because I just didn't end up needing any extra containers, but this year I do, so I figured it'd be the perfect time to break them out and start turning them into containers for my seeds. So what I did is I started by taking my knife and cutting the plastic. I just made a quick cut down the side, then I peeled the plastic off and I discarded it. From there, what I did is I got out a Sharpie and I went around the entire bottle and made a line. And I did this to use as a guide to cut the bottle. Now with this particular bottle, I probably really didn't need to do that because if you see where my line is, it's kind of between two little indents on the bottle. So it was pretty easy to follow. But if you're using a different kind of container, like a flat pop bottle or a milk jug, you might want to do this just so you have a very easy guide to follow. And that way you know that you're going to meet up from one end to the next when you're cutting, so the top comes off very easily for you and you don't have to fight it. As you can see in the video, I just used a utility knife, like a basic razor knife, which worked really well for this purpose. Now, if you don't have a utility knife or a razor knife like I used in the video, you can use something like scissors or a kitchen knife or another sharp blade. You're going to want to be very careful when you're doing this though, because the plastic can be slippery. So you're going to want to make sure that you have your knife or whatever you're using to cut with angled away from you in case it slips off. And I would also encourage you to be very careful and cautious of where your hands and fingers are at, because you don't want to end up cutting yourself. I ended up doing tons of these because, like I said, I have lots of seeds that I want to start and I have lots of room left in my greenhouse, so I really went through and did up quite a few of these. So here was my before and here is my after. As you can see, I have several ready to be filled up with dirt and then planted in. Now from here, I moved on to these bigger jugs. Now I'm going to use these a little differently than the other ones. The small ones I'm going to start seeds in, and these big ones I'm actually going to use to transplant some of my already started seeds into bigger containers. Now I had several pots, but again, I ran out of them, and these bigger ones are really great to use to transplant smaller plants into, or if you just want to start in a bigger container and plant in a bigger container, or maybe you have something that you want to plant multiples of in one pot, and these are great for that purpose. At this time, I only had 4 to 6 of these, but the process was exactly the same. I took the plastic off and then I proceeded to cut them. Now on these ones, I didn't mark them because just like on the smaller ones, I had a pretty easy guide to follow. I did have a couple that were a little sharp on the top, and I just kind of trimmed those with some scissors and it smoothed them right out. Now that these are all cut, they are ready to be filled with soil and ready to be planted. And I actually haven't really done much with growing in water, but I'm going to take a couple of these aside and experiment a little bit with starting some seeds in water. And I will have videos chronicling that whole adventure. I'm still a little unfamiliar with that part, but I'm excited to try it, so I'm definitely going to document that. Make sure you follow along if you want to see how these projects all turn out. A lot of it's still learning for me. I've only been doing this for a few years, but I have picked up a lot of great tips and tricks, which I'm happy to share. Make sure you click the like button and subscribe button if you want to follow along. Like I said before, we like to share tips and tricks, DIY projects, and just kind of overall have fun here. We appreciate all of your support, and we hope to see you soon.